All right, so welcome. So in our last video, we looked at the chromosomes and the DNA. And now that we know what is the chromosome and what is the DNA, so from today onwards, when we talk about chromosomes or DNA, we have a picture of what it is, and we also know the structure of the DNA, of the chromosomes. So today we'll be looking at the nuclear division, like how does the nucleus divide itself. All right, so what you are seeing is the nucleus, but what is dividing themselves inside they are the same chromosomes. This is why we had to deal with the chromosomes first. So in today's video we'll be talking about the nuclear division. Now specifically, when you talk about the nuclear division, this is just a cell that goes a process, okay, by which it will produce new cells, which are called daughter cells, right, from the parent cell. So ideally there are two types of nuclear division, and these two types of nuclear division, there's what we have, there's what we call mitosis and what we call meiosis. So these are the two types of nuclear division that we have. So we'll look, so we'll start with the mitosis first, and then we'll see what also meiosis will tell us. Now we said, like in somatic cells, you are going to find these two types of DNA, rather the chromosomes, but in gamete cells you only find sex chromosomes. Yeah, so ideally in today's topic we'll dwell so much on mitosis, because mitosis is another nuclear division, or it's a process by which a cell will divide itself, and it will result in the formation of two daughter cells that are diploid and are genetically identical to their diploid cell parent. So what it is that we've got the diploid. All right, so this is a parent cell. So this parent cell, it is going to form two diploids, which are daughter cells that will be genetically identical to the parent cell. So this is what we're just gonna be talking about in today's video, and we'll focus and we'll look at the four stages of this mitosis. So we'll talk about the prophase, which is the first stage. Then we'll talk about the metaphase. Then we're going to have the anaphase, and last but not the least, we are going to talk about the telophase. So these are the four main stages of cell division under mitosis. So the first stage, like I mentioned to say, is the prophase. So this is the first stage that takes place during mitosis. So like I said, and I've already mentioned to say, mitosis, this is a type of cell division that will result in the formation of the two daughter cells that will be genetically identical, and also they are diploid, also just same as the parent cell that are diploid. So this is our first stage of mitosis. Now there are following events that is happening. All right, so maybe just allow me to demonstrate what is happening. All right, so this is a cell. Okay, so this is a cell. So inside the cell we have, so inside of the cell we've got the chromosomes. All right, so we have the chromosomes inside this cell. So these are the chromosomes that are inside the cell, and meaning that we've got the nuclear membrane. Right, so we have the nuclear membrane that is surrounding those chromosomes, or the DNA. All right, so now the following events will happen during the prophase stage. So what is happening is that there will be the movement of the centrioles, all right, to the opposite poles of a cell. So now there are centrioles, all right, there are centrioles on a cell. So these centrioles now will move, okay, the centrioles will move to the opposite of the cell. So that is what is happening. So when the centrioles now they move to the opposite poles of the cell, the next thing that is going to happen is that the spindle shape will appear, all right, from the centrioles. So the spindle fibers rather, all right, so these are just fibers that will come like that. All right, so there are fibers that will appear just like that. So the fibers will appear from the centrioles. Then the next thing that will happen is that we are going to have the nuclear membrane disappearing. So the nuclear membrane will disappear. I wish I can wrap that as showing it to disappear. So this nuclear membrane will eventually disappear. Then the chromosomes will become visible. So once the nuclear membrane disappears, meaning that the chromosomes are exposed, they are becoming visible. So that is what is happening in this phase, right? So that is what is happening. So this is the nuclear membrane, right? So this is a nuclear membrane, and this is a cell membrane, right? So this is a cell membrane, and these are chromosomes. Okay, then these are central. These are called centrioles, and these are spindle fibers. These are spindle fibers. So that is what is happening in the prophase. So when this happens in the prophase, now it will take us to the next phase, which is which is the metaphase. Okay, so our next phase is the metaphase. All right, so we had the prophase and those activities that have taken place, and the next phase is the metaphase. So now during the metaphase also we are going to have same cell. So this is our cell. Okay, so what is happening here, right? So what is happening is that the chromosomes have been exposed, right? So the chromosomes have been exposed. The chromosomes have been exposed. So what is happening is that now these chromosomes in the metaphase will align themselves in the equator of the cell, or maybe in the central part of the cell. Now remember that we mentioned to say that I wish I maintained the colors here. Okay, so let me use this. So these are chromosomes. All right. So now what is happening now is that since in prophase the spindle fibers have already been formed, so these now from the centrioles. So now these spindle fibers now they are going to attach themselves, right? They are going to attach themselves in the centromere. Now remember we talked about the centromere to say a centromere is what? A centromere, this is a center where a chromatide crosses with another chromatide. So now these spindle fibers now will attach themselves, all right, will attach themselves to the chromosomes at the centromere. So that is what is happening in the prophase. In the metaphase. So when this happens now, it will take us to the next phase of mitosis, which is the anaphase. All right, so which is the anaphase. So now, again, I'm gonna draw a cell. Okay, I'll draw a cell like that. So now, since this, so this is what has happened in the metaphase. So in anaphase now, these, since they are touching at the center of the centromere, they are going to be pulled off to the opposite parts. So what is now going to happen is that we have the chromosomes, right? So we are going to have chromosomes being pulled, right? So the sister chromatide, they are going to be separated. I just wanted to use a different marker. All right, so let me draw the spindle fibers. So this is the, so now these spindle fibers, they are going to pull they are going to pull the sister chromatide. So the sister chromatide now are being pulled to the opposite pores of the cell. So when that happens now, it will take us now to the final phase, or to the final stage of mitosis, which is stage 4, and this stage 4 is what we call sorry, I've started by drawing that. Okay, so this second phase is what we call the telophase. I'll write it like this, the telophase. Now the telophase now is there. So what is happening now is that in the telophase we are now going to have the chromosomes starting to core and will start to put themselves in order. All right, so that is what we're going to do. So you can see these chromosomes have been put during the anaphase, and now they will be settling here. Okay, and once that is happening, when they start to call back, right, and we are going to have also the nuclear membrane will reappear again, right, to just make sure that these chromosomes are protected. So this is what is happening. Then also the spindle fibers will disappear, and once that is done, then a cleave is going to be, so this is called a cleave. A cleave is going to be formed, and eventually these cells will now be divided into two. So we are having now these two cells that will be genetically identical to this first cell that we had. All right, so that is what is going on during the mitosis of cell division. So now, what is the importance of mitosis? So what is the importance of mitosis? So mitosis, number one, is used for growth, right? So cells, we've heard of cell growth. So mitosis is used for growth. The second thing is that mitosis is used for cell regeneration. So the cells should be cell regeneration, and also mitosis is used for asexual reproduction. And we mentioned to say what is the advantages of asexual reproduction. You remember that? Okay, asexual reproduction, e.g. when you talk about binary fusion, we talked about binary fusion, right? So binary fusion, so this is an example of how the cell will divide by binary fusion. Then another importance of mitosis is that it is also useful in maintaining, right, genetic stability, right? So in maintaining genetic information. And last but not the least, we can say also it is useful for cell replacement. Okay, replacement of cells, of dead cells, for example, on your skin. So that is about mitosis in the phases. So this is what is happening in those 4 phases that we've mentioned of mitosis. So you just have to know in prophase as the first phase, where we're going to have the centrioles moving to the opposite poles of a cell, then the spindle fibers will form and the nuclear membrane will disappear. And in metaphase, since the chromosomes now have been exposed, then they are going to be attached through the center of the chromosome, which is called the centromere. And once they are attached in anaphase, they are going to be put to be separated from the sister chromatides. Then in anaphase, these cells now will have arrived to the opposite side, and the cleave forming, and as well as a nuclear membrane forming. Then eventually a cell divides itself. So one thing that you need to note is that these are two diploid. So this also started with this as a diploid. So ladies and gentlemen, that is about mitosis. So in my next video, I'm going to explain about meiosis as also a reduction division.